For most of us, our lives revolve around home, work, family and friends. But for some, their lives take a sudden twist when they find themselves cast into a world of the unexplained.
For 34 years, Gaynor Isid had lived at her home without experiencing anything out of the ordinary. Little did she know that what was to follow would change her life forever.
There were times when Gaynor would be banging on my door and I'd open it to find her in floods of tears.
Gaynor Isid believed her home was haunted and turned to Don Phillips for assistance.
When things began to get unbearable, I rang a few spiritist churches for mediums to come out. A few came out. There were several mediums what came in, and they all seemed to contradict each other with what I've been told, which didn't leave me with much confidence. By now, I didn't know which way to turn. It was a friend of mine who found out about Don.
I received a phone call from a friend of Gaynor's. He sounded very, very urgent and really, really quite desperate. The reports were Gaynor and her partner being physically hurt by some unseen force or entity. Objects moving, random fires, which apparently had been witnessed by a member of the clergy. A few days later, I spoke to Gaynor on the phone and we had quite a lengthy discussion. I came round, visited Gaynor and her partner, and we had a couple of very in-depth interviews. At that stage, I already knew that there was things, activity in this house. I could sense there was activity in this house and very, very strong spirit presence. It was a couple of days after that I rang Gaynor to inform her that I would take the case. This house is very, very haunted.
The unexplained events continue to this day.
It was several years ago, and during one of the first night's investigation at Gaynor's, I felt a strong female presence. She identified herself as Becky. Becky was to become a close ally in the years to follow. We formed an alliance, a deep friendship. She has, over time, shared much information about portals, the spirit world, and the spirits within it. It was during that night, and aware of this female presence, I decided to try an experiment. This is the first time I communicated with Becky, and Becky responded. Today, our alliance remains firm, and our friendship one of unprecedented trust and privilege.
Back to 43 again. Get to 43 and hold it for me. Hold it as long as you can. Now we need to go to 42. That's 43. Now we need 42.
I've been lost you up hard.
Can we have 42? Let's see how low we can get this. 39 we need, and then we need 38. That's the 39. Get back to 39. Almost there. Holding it 39.2, but you need to push it down to 38. 38.6. Brilliant. I think that's the limit. 33.9. Can you do 32? 32 in the next 60 seconds now. Nearly there. We'll go 32 out of it. Come on, you're nearly there now, you might as well.
If you listen very carefully, you'll hear Becky respond vocally when I ask, can you take the temperature back up for us?
Can you take the temperature back up for us? Can you take the temperature back up for us?
This is obviously a female voice, and at the time there was only myself and Tony in the building.
Can you take the temperature back up for us?
During the initial investigation, a voice was heard coming from the bathroom, the voice of a female singing. This, under normal circumstances, would not be considered unusual, only this time there was nobody there.
One of the highlights of the investigation was the discovery of a portal in Gainer's kitchen. I am very susceptible to this kind of energy, which enables me to locate them very easily. I will be discussing energy and portals in an upcoming episode here on the Supernatural Files. This portal at Gainer's at that time would form once every 24 hours. An energy would begin to build, it would dissipate. A few minutes later, it would come back stronger, and yet again it would dissipate. It would do this for several minutes, over maybe half an hour, until the portal was open. When it was open, the energy throughout the whole building was off the scale. The voices were loud and clear, and I could feel this energy. As I said, this happened almost every single day, to the point people talk about evidence. There is no evidence. This was an ideal opportunity to study my claim. I contacted the local radio station, who in turn contacted 2 universities. The radio station in question was Radio Leicester. The universities, one was De Montfort University and another one was Nottingham University. One declined to send anybody down. The second said that's not the sort of thing we get involved in, although the person that was contacted was the head of the science department.
We went in the kitchen. We were doing our normal checks of the areas, and Don walked into the kitchen, and in the centre he just froze to the amount of pressure that was on him. What he then got, he says, there's a portal here, Tony, get a camera in here, quick. This black smoke appeared, and I didn't know what was happening at this time. 3 photographs, and on the 3 photographs there was a spiral, like a whirlpool of black smoke that went up in the ceiling, and we found out that the pictures was taken so fast nobody could duplicate it. It's one of the best pictures we'll probably ever have this century.
We had an ideal opportunity to monitor the atmospherics around this portal, energy around this portal. We had the opportunity to prove something was there and something was happening. There was a great deal of unexplained anomalous phenomena captured at Gainer's, including this rather strange semi-transparent creature or something which shoots from the stairway lower rail across the floor. Let's take a look at this again in slow motion. Noteworthy is even the cat didn't respond to whatever this thing was.
Of course, that's not the only clip associated with the activity in this house. Look at this next clip here. We've clearly captured something, and I say something because I haven't any explanation as to what it could be, which appears to bounce off of the wall. It's obviously something that's non-physical, and it appears to literally bounce and disappear into the carpet. Take a look at this.
And this particular evening, I arrived at Gainer's, set up the camera, left it recording in the hope it just might capture something anomalous and quite randomly. This, after all, was an extremely active location. I went to make a coffee, I came back. It was later when reviewing the footage, this strange ball appears to leave the carpet and land on the fireplace before disappearing. Let's watch this again in slow motion. If we reverse the footage, we can clearly see it wasn't the case that it left the carpet and landed on the fireplace, but rather it had appeared out of thin air before hitting the fireplace and simply vanishing. Obviously, with claims of a haunted house, objects moving, random fires, portals, and a ghost singing Celine Dion, it wasn't long before sooner or later it was going to attract attention. This case went nationwide, being reported in many national newspapers, magazines, radio and TV. The UK #1 breakfast show contacted Gainer about her experiences. This promptly saw myself and Gainer appear alongside the host Holly Willoughby and Philip Schofield on the show.
I don't doubt your sincerity for a second.
It's punching me at night.
Take this morning crew and go down to the house.
After introductions and an exchange of pleasantries, we got down to business.
Yeah, I heard. I read about the. There was some singing. Did you catch some singing on? Yeah. Is that on tape, on video, or?
Yeah, we've got original footage. If anybody wants to analyse it, that's not a problem. Mm-hmm. But as bizarre as it sounds, okay, it's a lady was singing Celine Dion.
But no matter whether it looks or sounds bizarre, if it's real, I'll put it out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's not record anyway.
It is now. Which song was it?
My Heart Will Go On.
Okay, yeah. Titanic film. Well, yeah.
But I know you commented, Chris, before that it can be somebody walking by, etc. So I've sort of spent a little bit of time trying to show how it can't be. So I'll look forward to sort of showing you later from my point of view how I see it.
Fair enough.
I would assume that this was just someone who happened to be in the area who was singing that song. Absolutely. I mean, and the question is, what is actually going on? What could possibly be causing this?
I was determined to get this evidence of something tested one way or the other. I also was aware it would have to be somebody totally independent of myself. I'd met Steve Merrow a couple of years prior at a conference. Initially, twice, Steve rejected my offer, but finally agreed to meet me at Gaynors.
So this is where it was obviously recorded. I've seen the footage that Don sent to me, and the singing on it was really interesting.
Steve Merrow, a seasoned investigator and lecturer, was well known for his hardline approach on debunking claims, which had also made him unpopular in some circles. This is exactly what I needed. Steve made no secret of the fact that he was there to debunk me, my claimed abilities, and if possible, find rational explanations or other explanations for the evidence that I'd supplied. Steve also made no secret in declaring that if he found anything he thought was fake or hoaxed, he would make it public. This was the agreement.
I've had a number of things to analyse. 3 photographs which were submitted to us by Don. 3 interesting photographs which we have conducted analysis on. But we've talked about the possibility of the second photograph capturing something unusual in the kitchen. Could it be a portal? And these are references that you may come across in the field of the paranormal. And it's generally thought that it could be some type of doorway or opening to a spirit realm. That is the general idea. As to exactly what it is and what type of energy we're dealing with, it's pretty much an unknown, and it's all very speculative at this moment and theoretical. However, something unusual certainly remains.
Steve, I believe, has some more questions for Gaynor concerning the personal attacks.
What's the worst thing you've experienced whilst living here?
Well, it's a couple of things really. A few fires.
Fires,
yeah.
So do you actually see these?
Yeah,
just start.
Just start, yeah.
Right, and what's that start with? Did you just start with smouldering, or do you just?
No, it just comes up like a Bunsen burner.
Things catching fire.
Yeah, a bloke from, he was a priest from Evangelical Church.
Oh, a priest, right.
Yeah, he witnessed it. As
Right.
we were in the back bedroom blessing the house.
And what was his response to seeing something like that?
Quite amazed.
Quite amazed?
Yeah.
And has this priest been back since?
He did used to come back. He used to come back with other people, and he used to bring food, and they used to sit there banging drums, singing.
Right, and what did he believe this was? Did he believe it was something good, something bad? I mean, did he say give you any indication?
I don't know. He didn't give me any indication. He gave me the indication that he was enjoying what was going off.
Right, so really, he didn't really give you any information as to any idea why it might be happening.
No.
And how it might be happening.
Yeah.
Right, and those disturbances, are they still taking place now, or?
The fires, no.
No, so they've subsided. But what type of stuff have you been left with over a period of time now? What's actually going on now?
Things will move right now, and noises, breathing.
Right, so you have object manipulation, and you've got audible disturbances.
Yeah.
Don tells me you've had quite a lot of people visiting to the location, and who've also had experiences here, including the priest who unfortunately wasn't being able to give you much information as to what was going on, but we were certainly surprised at what he witnessed here. What do you think has been the most helpful?
Don's been the most helpful. He's been with me all the way through it. He's caught a lot of stuff.
I contacted the aforementioned priest and I asked the question, did you see a cat basket burst into flames in Gaynor's home? He declined to see me, he didn't want to be interviewed, but what he did say on the phone to me is, I don't know what I saw and I don't want to talk about it. One of the things I'm well known for is the ease at which I contact and communicate with spirits.
You know, I blanked both these recorders.
Yeah, you showed me straight away, both on file A, completely clear.
On what file are we on now?
File A.
It was during a totally unconnected night to the investigation. One of Gainer's guests asked me how many spirits there were in the property. I suggested that they answer that. We promptly went upstairs to the landing, where I asked the question, and this is the action of the gentleman that had heard one of the spirits replying to me for the very first time.
Jesus!
Well, let's listen to that one more time. Demon is a subjective label. However, one spirit claimed to be just that and wanted to speak. I asked the self-proclaimed demon its reason for being here. Its reply, if interpreted correctly, was chilling.
Okay, so demon, speak to me. Did you hear the word baby?
I heard the word.
Clearly.
Well, let's first of all break this down and listen to the first part. That, to me at least, sounds pretty clear. The second part, I'm not quite so sure about. But one thing that was clear is this was not static.
I would assume that this was just someone who happened to be in the area who was singing that song.
But what about Chris French's claim or assumption that the voice captured singing the Celine Dion song was nothing more than a person walking by the front, the rear of the garden, or possibly even a neighbour? It was time to put this to the test. Of course, under normal circumstances, Chris would be absolutely correct. This, however, is not normal circumstances.
This is Jackie. Jackie's going to be playing the role of Yvonne, and what we're going to actually do is we're going to record both sounds. We're going to do a direct comparable between Jackie's voice and the voice that was captured on the recorder in the bedroom, on the video camera, sorry, in the bedroom at the time. So that could be quite interesting. So join us in a couple of minutes.
In this case, we've got to say, is it possibly somebody outside making some type of singing? It sounds unusual, but nevertheless, can we rule that out? Could it have been a noise coming from next door, somebody walking past on the street? And we're going to put that to the test. We're going to run a replication and see if we can find a rational explanation. And, maybe so, I don't know.
This is the actual footage in question. Was it simply the case that somebody was at the front or rear of the property, or would the experiment show that this could not have been the case?
This is the exact camera that was used that night to capture the singing woman. It's a Sony night vision camcorder. We're going to be placing it in the back bedroom where it was that night and see how it records. Jackie's going to be in the bathroom, and we've asked Jackie to sing the very same song. Oh, and we're going to ask her to go outside, sing at the front, sing at the back, even at the side. And we're going to look at all three of those and see if we match up to the original one that we have.
The same camera used to capture the original footage was placed in the same location in the bedroom next to the bathroom with the door closed, just as it was that night.
Wherever you are, I believe that the heart does go.
Next, efforts were concentrated at the rear of Gainer's home.
Okay, this first bedroom up here is where the camera is set up and recording as it was that night. And over to the left you can see with the light on, that's the bathroom where the noise was apparently coming from. Okay, Jackie, do you want to do that again?
Okay. Near, far, wherever you are, I believe that the heart does go on.
I'm going up. I'm staying here.
Yeah, apparently it was somebody supposed to be walking past, so that means you're going to have to be on the footpath.
Near, far, wherever you are, I believe.
Okay, so this is the first part, yeah.
wherever you are.
Just played the second video piece, and as we know, Jackie was singing in the back garden. But there's absolutely nothing, there's no way that you can hear even the words properly. You can just make out something, but you can't even make out the words with Jackie singing in the back garden. And that's what's caught on the video camera. Even the one from the front, absolutely nothing, couldn't hear anything. Of course, we are 52 feet away from the front, recording on this piece of equipment, which is in the back bedroom. The only one that seems to match up is the one that was recorded in the bathroom, which was Jackie singing in the bathroom. And not only that, it's exactly the same acoustics, that echo effect that you get from singing in the bathroom. I'm saying there's absolutely no way you could hear her from upstairs. From here, it's about 52 foot. There's absolutely no way she could be heard. You couldn't hear it if she was stood here near the front door. So from the investigation, we've been given a piece of audio which was taken at the location. What's interesting is that it appears that there's a vocal of a female, by all intents and purposes, singing on the captured device. Now, it has been speculated on a number of occasions by people that that voice may have been somebody passing outside the house, at the back, the rear of the building, or even at the front of the building. So what we've done is we've got that piece of analysis and looked at it carefully to find out, could it really have been somebody walking past the house, or did it, as we initially thought, come from the bathroom? What you can see here during the test procedures is the original recording, which was looped 3 times on the spectral analysis. It clearly shows that the black spot does represent that it is in fact a vocal we are listening to, a real human vocal. Secondly, on the acoustic analysis, we can see that how the vocal suddenly ends, and you can clearly hear that as it is on the actual video recording. The video recorder was set up in the back bedroom, and as we assume that the vocal was coming from the bathroom because it's got that resignation. It resonates in the bathroom. And that echo effect can only be obtained from that location. And here, during the test procedures, we got Jackie to go in to the bathroom and sing the very same song at the same pitch and level. And you can see the similarities between the two. This is the original recording taken, and underneath you can see the replication that was captured, and you can see the comparison between the two, which are extremely similar. Also, what we noted is that the location of the camera, which was set up in the back bedroom, letter A, is the location of the bathroom, which was about 14.3 feet away from the capturing device. Jackie was positioned in the bathroom. She did sing that piece of audio, and we did a test procedure to see if there was similarities. The speculation of somebody walking past outside that's not going to be the case. We were talking 52.8 feet away from the camera. Absolutely nothing could be obtained on the capturing device by Jackie singing out on the front pathway, even when she was louder than what the initial recording would have been. And of course, letter C is the location at the rear of the building, which is around about 18.6 feet away from the captured device. We could just vaguely hear Jackie singing in the back garden, but it wasn't so significantly and not loud enough to be captured on the device. The only one that sounded exactly the same was one. It was replicated in the assumed place we thought it would have been, which would have been the bathroom. And you can actually see the results here from the test procedures carried out and the location of the bathroom. And some things strike a chord. First thing is that they had matching in the frequency range. It also had matching in the environmental resonance in the bathroom. It had matching amplification, and the decibel level, the sound level was pretty much just very similar. And it was a female vocalization test, which did provide so many similarities between the two. It was approximately 14.3 feet away from the captured device, and the pitch and the audible loss over that distance was also a match. By all intents and purposes, what we can conclude is, it's quite simple, the voice had to have come from the bathroom, and with no females in the property, what else could it have been?
Yeah. So, Chris, do you have a view or a possible explanation of something like a portal?
Well, I mean, the idea of a portal doesn't actually make really any sense in terms of conventional science.
When it comes to claims of things such as alternate dimensions, realities, and portals not being part of conventional science, there's a few points I'd like to make. First of all, few would argue that conventional science is still, despite all the advances, in its infancy. We're still learning much about the planet, the solar system, and things around us. All current scientific knowledge is tentative, provisional, and nothing is final. Obviously, experimental evidence is better and more credible than correlated evidence, but even the former cannot prove a theory, and can only provide strong evidence for the theory against its alternatives.
I do know that you can get things where you get internal reflections, you can get, I mean, I'm not saying this in this case, it's not what happened with the Don's photo, but you can get camera straps going in front of lenses, you can get things that were just kind of going past and so on. So, I mean, I don't know what the explanation is, I'm being straight up about that.
Although I personally know 100% this is a picture of the portal which was captured. Let's also bear in mind again the circumstances which led to its capture. Although I can't prove it's a portal, at the very least, unlike dark matter, I have evidence of something, some kind of phenomena. I agree with Chris. There's been many previous occasions when people have seen artifacts in pictures and misidentified them as something else. Chris also stated that in his opinion this may not necessarily be the case in this instance, and that he had at this time no explanation for what we'd captured on film. Once again, there are a couple of points I'd like to make clear. Firstly, this was a CCTV camera that doesn't carry a camera strap, and it was also set to motion detection only. There were many frames captured before this event and many frames captured after this event. The pictures were taken approximately 1/20th of a second apart. If indeed this was a camera strap or something else similar, then the camera would have also captured anybody in the kitchen within that time, or anything else in the kitchen within that time moving in front of the camera. The only pictures that were captured were these 3 pictures captured at 1/20th of a second each. It was very important to set out and at least show what it wasn't. Steve Merrer was more than happy to take up the case, seeking any alternative explanation.
I've been here tonight and looked at that particular photograph countless times, and whilst I've been here I've set up a digital camera to try and get exactly the same perspective and angle and position in that location, try and replicate the photograph. And in fact, there's been speculation many times that is it something moving in front of that photograph at high speed? Be it a camera lead, a strap, anything of the sort. I've done a number of tests tonight to prove that actually isn't so. And the photographs that you'll see during this investigation will demonstrate the fact that there's significant difference between an alleged object moving in front of the camera and something unusual that Don may have actually captured on film. What we're describing here with these 3 particular photographs is photographic 1. There was a series of 3 photographs. The first one has an anomaly in the top left hand corner. What we've done is we've eliminated the fact that that is actually not the cupboard overhang nor cupboard door open. So, and it's also, if you actually look closer at that particular photograph, there's pixelation slight difference in regarding the anomaly, and that's simply because it seems to be closer to the camera lens. The second photograph is the one in question, which seems to be most significant, where it does seem to capture something adrift on the photograph in the middle. You know, it's been speculated many times that could be a camera strap. In fact, we've also done a second test tonight to prove that actually isn't so. And the third photograph, which is really interesting, is that it does seem to be a captured movement of the actual camera. Now, between photograph 2 and photograph 3, there was certainly movement of the camera somehow, when in fact the whole area was locked off. So, a bit of a mystery.
It was early that evening. I told Steve I could feel an increase in energy throughout the house. Steve then pulled out a smog meter, which confirmed that information.
And when Don said only a very short time ago that he was picking up, well, it started with him saying that he had a tingling sensation in his fingers and walked into the kitchen. At that point, the electrosmog meter was starting to just rise slowly. And actually, as we've moved around, this seems to be a location where it's actually rising, and it's over near the this door, and it's generally in this vicinity. And it's significantly different. It's been completely just flat green all night, and now there's obviously something.
It wasn't long afterwards when Jackie reported hearing some unexplainable sounds.
Well, as I was monitoring you guys upstairs, I heard what appeared to be a howl, but it seemed like it wasn't a cat. And there is cats in the house, but it was definitely not a cat, and it sounded like a woman's voice. And it was I would say it was like a couple of minutes after one of you guys upstairs asked for Yvonne.
But we didn't hear anything, did we?
No, I didn't hear.
Definitely heard it. Hopefully, the laptop that's recording would have picked that.
That would be good.
Would have picked. I'm hoping it's picked it up. But also, I've been hearing like sounds of something being placed down on a hard surface. Again, I've been monitoring. I've seen you two up there, nowhere putting anything down. You've been stood in the middle of a room.
Where did that sound like where it was coming from?
This sounds like it's coming from the utility room.
Which is where we got them loud voices earlier. And we've got to say at this point, Gainer's now left the property.
Yeah, she left well over an hour ago.
So that we can account for where everybody is at any particular time in case we do get any.
Yeah. I've been sat here. The only thing that I've seen is the cats in and out. You guys upstairs, there's been nobody here at all. Absolutely no one.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jackie. Okay, that's quite interesting. Unverifiable at the moment. We're going to check the laptop for that sound, that howl that Jackie was talking about.
Whilst doing this piece of the camera and having reviewed the footage, this door moved in a rather peculiar manner. The door didn't just move, but it actually looked like somebody could have poked it with an invisible hand. And I certainly wasn't in contact with this door at that time. There were no doors or windows open, no drafts, and the floor was a solid floor. It couldn't be proved either way, but again, it was something that I found quite interesting. During this investigation, I would ask questions on Steve's behalf. Steve and Jackie would hear clear replies in response to my questions. This Steve found extremely profound. Not least because he monitored everything very carefully and made sure that the recorders were marked and all formatted right at the start of the evening.
We've got 3 different digital recording pieces of equipment here. The first 2 have been checked and looked at the different folders A and B. They've also been erased, ready to be used. I'm going to mark these particular, because they are both identical, they're both Olympus digital recorders. We formatted both at Don's request, and I'm going to be marking them to making sure that neither of them get switched or get mixed up through the process of recording this evening. We've also got a third digital recorder, which is going to be used probably moving around the location tonight with us. And everything has been also backed up on a second digital video cam. The process of the erasing of the folders, and just to show that that nothing is on the digital recorders prior to us recording this evening. So I've made a thorough check of those, and everything is tickety-boo.
Now he wanted to put this to the test.
First carried out over 100 years ago. What's really going to be interesting is that not only going to ask Don to see if he can find out any information pertaining to what the items are in hidden envelopes, so he won't be able to see the images inside them. But he's also going to have to, he's going to be challenged with 3 different envelopes. So he's going to have to pick one envelope out of the 3 and also get that right. And what's also interesting is that Don hasn't got a clue we're going to be doing this.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, he's going to need all the help he can get. Let's just say that.
This experiment I completed on the first attempt, much to Steve's surprise.
Well, Don's just packing up. It's been a really interesting night. To be honest, I expected to leave within the first couple of hours because I thought, like normally, I'd find instant rational explanations and I'd be vacating the building quite quickly. Well, this is hours on, I'm still here after a lengthy investigation, and I'm still scratching my head, to be honest. There's been some really interesting sounds which have been recorded on the digital devices. There's also been the experiments that we've conducted. We've done a Faraday cage test. We've covered with foil around the equipment to try and shield any stray reflective voices or any transients coming through. And again, we still got them. So we tried to conduct a few of those experiments to try and eliminate that process, but that doesn't seem to have worked. Also, we've also done the test, which was the envelopes, and that was really fascinating because, by all accounts and purposes, we got results, and I don't know how Don managed to do that. He was listening to what he believes is some type of communication from the spirits. And of course, what's happened, the result of that is that Don not only picked out the right envelope, he also picked out the correct item that was in it, the name of the item. And that was quite remarkable. And the results were, as far as I'm concerned, quite amazing. And the experiment was conducted, witnessed by third hand, and I don't know how to explain that. We're going to have to obviously conduct more tests. And all in all, with the photographs that we've got and the video footage and the strange things that have been going on at this location, it's become quite mind-boggling. Can the paranormal phenomena really exist? Could this be the evidence that we've been looking for?
The answer to that question is yes. Paranormal phenomena really does exist. There will always be fierce opposition from that statement alone by some people in some circles. I've done my best to add support to that for which I claim and to debunk my own findings, although I have provided evidence in support of my claims and that of which I know. Regardless, I still haven't proved my claim, and it would be impossible, virtually impossible, to do so without mainstream science getting on board, or at least having the proper scientific equipment at my disposal. The world is still a place of great mystery and great wonder. This is Don Phillips, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Supernatural Files.